Do you ever find yourself just like struggling to keep up with your emails or not having enough people to accommodate everyone that is inquiring with you, or even just like having a huge bridal party wanting to book you, but you not being able to accommodate everyone in the bridal party? Have you gotten to the point in your career where you're just so busy and you're getting so many inquiries and people are emailing you like crazy for their wedding dates, for their special occasions, but you just can't keep up with all of the emails? Or maybe you got booked with a really big bridal party and you personally won't be able to accommodate everyone. And not only are you losing that client, but you're losing out on a ton of money and future clients by not being able to accommodate that particular bridal party. I know exactly how you feel because I've went through it years ago. Before I had my team, I used to try to do like 12, 13 bridesmaids plus the bride, and I would leave just cross-eyed and exhausted. And then I would get home and have all of these emails piling up. It was a crazy weekend, and now I'm up till like 2, 3 in the morning on a Monday trying to get back to everyone that inquired because I don't want to lose those clients. So once you get to that point where you find yourself up so late at night trying to get back to people, or it's been days and days and you're just losing clients due to the lack of professionalism by not getting back to them on time. Or maybe you just can't accommodate such large bridal parties because it just exhausts you and you wind up cross-eyed in your car after and you're just getting too old and tired for it. Even when I was 21, even when I was 18 doing these massive bridal parties, I would get in my car and I would just be so exhausted. I have the solution for you guys. I'm gonna go into team building. I'm Lauren D'Amelio Ventre. I have been in this industry for over 16 years. I started cosmetology school when I was super young. I started at 15 years old. I am now almost 33. I have been specializing in bridal and celebrity makeup in particular, and I absolutely love it. And I can tell you, in these past 16 plus years, I've seen it all. I've adjusted and I've evolved over these 16 years from my experiences. And I want to teach you about all of my experiences, everything that I learned from, so that you don't have to go through the same thing. I put out content like this weekly on YouTube, so please like and subscribe so that you never miss a video or any of my tips and tricks. If you have any questions or want to learn about something in particular, please go down to the comment section. Don't be afraid to ask any questions. Nothing's a stupid question. And I promise I will make the time to make more videos like this and go over any troubles that you guys might have. In this video, I'm going to be talking about team building. It is so important once you reach that point of your career where you just can't keep up and you're losing business and money. You don't want to lose money. You don't want to lose business. All of these clients that you're turning away because you can't help them or you can't make it to them, that's future clients that you are also not getting. It's not just that one person. So we want to accommodate these people. We want to start building our team. So once you decide that it's time to start building your team, once you're just tired of being up super late answering emails, or losing clients because you're not getting back to them on time, or losing clients because you're not able to accommodate them because you're either booked with someone else or it's just too large of a party, you are going to start team building. Now, there's a lot of information in this video, so I'm gonna give you a free download as well in this video. You're going to be able to click the link below or go to theartoфenhancement.com/10 and you'll be able to download your free resource right on that page. I'm going to give you a step-by-step cheat sheet on how to start hiring your team and what worked for me. Now let's dive right in. So first things first, you need to be at that point. You need to know, okay, I'm overwhelmed. I can't accommodate everyone. I need help. Getting to that point and starting to understand that you need to give up a little control. I think this was the hardest part for me, was giving up that control of seeing every single email, of communicating directly with every single client. That was a really hard step for me to take, and it was life-changing once I did it. It is super important to understand, as long as you hire the right person for that job, they got it covered. You will still monitor it, you will still treat it like it's your baby, but you will have more free time, you'll be able to take more clients, and you'll make more money. So first things first, what I did was hire an assistant who did all of my emails, who also came with me on the weddings. This way, I had an extra set of hands and I wasn't up all night doing my emails myself. So what you want to do, especially if you have some kind of social media following, you can definitely post that you're looking for a main assistant, that you're growing your team, making sure that they know all of the criteria that you're looking for. It's also a good idea to write up a listing on Indeed looking for an assistant. I feel like a lot of people, especially if you're a popular makeup artist, where you're getting so busy, you probably have a lot of artists that follow you who maybe are not as busy as you. So they know the industry, or maybe it's just someone that loves the beauty industry and wants to be involved, but maybe is a little bit more tech savvy. Now, how do you go about writing down exactly what you need in that person, in your person that you're going to be relying on so much for your business? It's so important. Take the time to really sit down and write down everything that you need them to do. Whether it just be emails and assist you on weddings, maybe it's a certain amount of hours that you are requiring them to work a day. Maybe it's a certain time that you're requiring them to work every day. Maybe they're only required to work Monday through Friday within the hours of 9 to 5, whatever works for you. But you need to start writing everything down prior to obviously putting out a job listing. You need to make sure that they're understanding of what you're expecting, how fast clients should be responded to. I recommend nothing more than 72 hours because a lot of us artists work on weekends, and you could always put up an away message saying, hey, emails are not answered Friday through Sunday. We will be getting back to everyone on Monday, which is totally fine because they know that they're hiring makeup artists and that you guys are busy, right? But more than 72 hours is, I feel, unacceptable to respond to a client. So you want to have these requirements written down, and you could even go into like a Chat GPT, something like an AI program, and ask them to help you write down requirements for a makeup artist assistant or a makeup artist assistant who also does emails. And they'll write up a list for you that you can edit and really kind of make your own. This way, when you do post about the job and you do put yourself out there that you're hiring, that it's well written and very descriptive. You don't want to hire someone and then try to tell them what you're expecting of them. You also want to make sure that now that they're on your team, maybe you have t-shirts made for when they do come with you, or any kind of apparel, zip-ups, tank tops, just with your brand logo on it. Very important to have that. Even if you're sending that assistant out and you're not there, you want people to know that they're part of your team, and that is a booking through your team. That is the best way to even get more recognition for your brand, and even just by getting more referrals from people seeing that shirt on your assistant. So once you have the full criteria written down, what you expect from them, what you expect them to wear on bookings, what time you expect them to arrive prior to a booking, how to talk to clients, how to communicate, how fast to communicate with them, the hours of which you expect them to communicate within. Everything is super important to have written down. I know a lot of information is here, guys. I'm so sorry, but bear with me because it's so important to do these steps prior to hiring someone, because you don't want to hire someone and then them not understand the full job description and maybe get overwhelmed or not be able to do all of these things. And then you're stuck looking for a new person. So important prior to even the interview process is really getting honed in on what you expect from this person and what you need. Every individual is different. You could even have other things in there. Maybe you also expect them to communicate with brands or help get you some PR. It could be anything that you're looking for in an assistant, but you need it written down and super descriptive. Once you have all of that, you're going to post. You're going to have it on LinkedIn. You're going to post it on your social and have everyone email you their resume. Then you're also going to want to reiterate the job description once they send all of that and go through everyone's resumes. If it's someone in your industry, you really do want to be a little careful, and I'll tell you why. Because people in the industry, right, who are also doing makeup, if they are looking to eventually have a team of their own, you have to understand that one day they might leave you and you're going to be in a position where you need to start looking all over again. And it's a little stressful. And listen, we all go through it. The first assistant that you hire is most likely not going to be the one with you 5-10 years from now. People evolve, people move on, people get different jobs, maybe different interests, but you want someone that's super interested in helping you and helping your brand, that maybe isn't super interested in eventually having their own team. That is something that's kind of hard to say because you don't want to discourage people from applying with you, but you don't want to be in a position a year from now because now this person's so booked and busy that they don't have time for your emails. Now they're slacking on your emails. Now they can't come with you on jobs. And now you're struggling all over again, searching for a new assistant. So really taking that time, finding out, like maybe you just want to hire someone for emails that is not in this industry at all. Maybe you want just an assistant that only comes with you on bookings so that you can really just take care of those bigger bridal parties. If you want someone that does both, you want to make sure that you guys have a very clear understanding that you want to hire someone that's in it with you for the long haul, that wants to grow with your brand. And a lot of artists don't want their own team, and I don't blame them because it's a lot of work. If you're an artist that, you're content not having to do a ton of emails or not setting up scheduling or not communicating with the client at all and just showing up, be on a ton of teams. That is amazing. You just get asked for a date and a time and you're there. You don't have to do anything else. So there is an up and downside to having a team, and there's an upside and a downside to just freelancing and working for other teams. But as long as you find someone that is not looking to build their own team, this could be a great fit for you because now they can do makeup and also do your emails because they'll have more of that free time because they're not focused on doing all of their own emails. So once you get a ton of resumes sent in, review them all, look these people up on social media. You want to really know who you're getting into bed with. Essentially, this is going to be someone that you communicate with every single day, every day, no matter what, for it could be years. So you want to make sure that you guys will mesh well, that you guys can tolerate each other, that you will definitely see yourself growing with that person. Very, very important. Very important. Reliability is super important. Time management is super important. Professionalism is super important. Everything else can be taught. So once you get those resumes sent in, review them. Maybe pick 10 to 20. If you get like a good amount in, maybe pick like 10 to 20 that you want to do an in-person interview with. Once you review them and find out who you want to do the interview with, you're going to send out an email saying, hey, I loved your resume. I'm hosting in-person interviews on this day from this time to this time. Please let me know when you might be able to make it and if that day works for you. So you can either set up time blocks so that people aren't necessarily running into each other when they're coming to interview, or you can have them all come at one time and have a sign-in sheet. I kind of like this method because you know who showed up first, because that's super important, right? As a makeup artist, being on time is extremely important. You'll see a list of who, was there on time. You'll also be able to see how they interact with other people. I've had interviews where I've done this process where they all come at once, and some people show up like 20 minutes late, some people show up 20 minutes early. So those 20-minute early people are immediately the people who I'm like, okay, this already is a great fit. Obviously, you need to know more about them than just being punctual. But if you're on time, you're late in this industry. If you're late, you're extremely late and you might be ruining someone's day. So we don't want the late people. Listen, things happen. Maybe there was an accident. Still interview them, still really take in everything about that person. But make sure you take note that they were late because that is a huge factor. You also want to see their email response time back to you when you do email them with that date and time. If they don't email you back for days, that probably is a good indication that they're not going to email your clients back for days. If they're emailing you back pretty quickly within 24 hours, that's a really good fit. During the interview process, I also normally have their resumes printed out from what they sent me If they're also an artist, I like them to bring in a portfolio of their work. And I always say, please make sure it's unedited work. You don't want to be looking at a portfolio or even people's social media, because you don't know what's been put through editing apps. Even videos now, guys, you cannot trust. I know there's artists out there that use these video apps to enhance the makeup, so you don't know what's real and what's not. So you really want to be able to tell that person's artistry based off of unedited photos and unedited videos, and make that very clear prior to the interview. Once you have that date and time set up, obviously you're going to show up early. You're going to have all of the resumes printed out. You could also ask them to bring a printed out resume so that you don't have to do that step. Totally up to you. You want their portfolios, and then also have maybe like, you could have someone with you. Maybe it's just a friend that's in the industry that you're like, hey, can you be here for moral support and help me, see who's coming in on time, help me really read the room, because sometimes you're not able to see everything that's happening. When I had that one interview in particular that I had everyone show up at once, this was like years ago now, you'll see who are like the gossipers or the people who are really pleasant. You'll see who, is talkative or shy. And these are all things that you need to start picking up on during this interview. So having another set of eyes there and ears kind of to like watch that room while you're doing the interviews are really important as well. We had one girl, kind of very talented artist, come in to interview to be part of my team, and she was just talking so much SHIT to other people about other teams. And I, for that sole reason, could not hire her on my team because I don't want to look like I condone that, because you shouldn't condone that. So making sure that you're hiring good people, professional people, on-time people, again, is so important. Now, the interview questions. Remember that little AI ChatGPT that I talked about earlier? You can put in, help me with interview questions for makeup artists or assistants for my makeup team. And it will pop out a bunch of interview questions. This will make it a lot easier for you if you're really not sure what to do, where to start. And then you could kind of weed through it and make them your own as well. But it's a great way just to save time and get those questions kind of laid out for yourself. Now you're gonna ask these questions. You're gonna pull people in from the order that they came in on, right? You're gonna have that list that everyone signed in, and you're gonna call out the names. You're gonna be in a separate room from everyone else. I think no longer than 15, 20-minute interviews is more than efficient. You just wanna get to know their demeanor. You wanna look at their hygiene. I know that's crazy. You wanna look at how they're presenting themselves. They might be a little nervous, but that's okay. Try to look past some of those nerves. But if they're friendly and nice and punctual and on time, and they have a good resume, and they also have a good portfolio, this is a great candidate. But if you have someone show up super late, disheveled, rude, or kind of confrontational with other people, that's a huge sign that this is not someone that you want to hire, and they're not going to be the best partner in your business. Think about this original assistant as more of a partner. So one of the reasons why I like to print out the resumes so that I could keep them prior is because I like to take notes on exactly what I just talked about, just timing, what they're not necessarily if they're pretty or not, but their appearance, if they're put together well, if they conduct themselves well. I like to take notes on all of that, because especially if you're interviewing 20 people that day, you're gonna start forgetting and mixing up who was who. So it's really good to write these notes on things that you want to remember. Once you do hire someone, you find someone that you're like, this is the perfect fit, I need them, they're gonna be great for my brand, they're gonna be great for my business. This is your business. It's so important not to just hire someone because they're a friend. I'm sure you will have friends asking you to do this, but what's really hard with friends? If they show up late, if they're not answering emails on time, you're gonna have a harder time kind of telling them or disciplining them, rather than someone that you really don't know that well, that you hired solely for this. So that is something when you're hiring friends, just be careful. If you have a really good open relationship where you can be super stern with them and they won't take it offensively or against your friendship, that's totally fine. But once you do figure out who you want to hire, it's really important that you have training days set up for that person. Maybe if the first week that they're hired, that is their training week. Maybe you pay them like half, or maybe they don't get paid at all. Whatever you'd rather it be, if you want to pay them full, totally fine. But you want that training period. You want them to really understand what you expect. Again, go over everything with them that was written out in the job description. And then also when it comes to emails, you want them to know how you like to respond to people. Maybe you're really bubbly in emails. Maybe you're super corporate in emails. Maybe you're a little bit of both. But you want them to understand your way of communicating with clients. You want them just to be like an extension of you. I like to have templates in my emails. So if you have Gmail, you're able to make these awesome templates, which are basically just like copy and paste, where you don't have to copy and paste. You just click it and it appears in the email, and then you'll customize it to that client that you're responding to. But we have templates for Lauren is booked, Lauren is available, price list, maybe confirmation template. We have all these different templates. So having those templates set up so it makes it really easy and foolproof for them when responding to clients, where all they really have to do is add in their name and the date that they're inquiring for. Hey, Samantha, Lauren is available March 2025. Here's her price list. And then it's customized to them and it's easy. It doesn't take them 20 minutes to do that email. It takes them 5 minutes. So you're paying them less because they're not spending so many hours doing it. If they had to type out every single email that they're doing, you're gonna wind up paying them more because most likely you're paying them hourly. So you're gonna sit down with them for the first week. You're gonna make sure that you have the time, you're not rushed, that you're super organized. The more organized you are in this training week, the better they will be working for you and the less that you'll have to be involved. So really setting that time aside to train them is extremely, extremely important. Let them know if they ever have any questions or if they're just unsure about something, to not hesitate to ask, because you'd rather them ask you than send out something that you don't want them to say, right? As far as clients, if you need approvals prior to them responding, have them have like a layout of how to ask you, because that's another thing that just a learning process that I went through is like my original assistant would be like, hey, I see that you're available this date. I have Jamie inquiring, do you want to take her? So now what I do is ask for obviously name, date, location, because location is really important. Because maybe they're asking you to go to Rhode Island and you're located in New Jersey, and then you have another bride the next day in Philly, and it just won't work out, right? That's just so much driving. Maybe you just don't have the time for it. Maybe you need to be home in between for family or whatever else it may be. Maybe it just won't work. But if you're not having them write down the location, date, name, even when my assistants now send dates to me, I have them put the date like September 7th, 2025. But like I'll have them put the day of the week. So this is a Thursday. This is a Sunday. This is a blah, blah, blah. Because now I live down the Jersey Shore. If I'm doing someone on a Friday, 2 hours north of me, coming back home that Friday is gonna take me 4 or 5 hours. Okay, so that might not be a client that I take solely because of how far they are and due to it being on a Friday. Thinking more logistically, and keeping that date open for someone that might be closer or more convenient. Honestly, especially if you're really busy right now and that's why you're hiring a team, right? You can start being a little bit more particular about who you take, and that's really important. I feel like now that I have like a family, I have 2 kids, a husband, a house to maintain, opposed to like literally 7 years ago when I had none of that and I was able just to drive everywhere and do everything. If you have that lifestyle right now, do everything, drive everywhere, but you still can have the luxury of not having to take everyone. Maybe that's your first inquiry and they're asking you to go to Delaware, which is maybe 2-3 hours away. If you would have kept that date open for like another month or so, you might be able to have someone in the town over from you, which makes your life easier. You're still making the same amount of money and it just makes more sense, right? So that is something to just think about if you're not at that place yet and you're like, I'll take anyone, I'll drive anywhere, do it. I used to say, I think that it's really important to have good work-life balance. It's so important for your mental health, especially being an in-demand artist in this industry, because for 10 years, maybe even more of my career, I didn't have a birthday. I didn't go to holidays. I barely saw my family. I worked every single day, did as many clients as I could possibly do. And you know what? For most of my 20s, I don't have a lot of like memories. It was all work. And I think that's a little sad. I don't know if I would say that I would completely change it because I do love to work, but I do think, and I strongly recommend, blocking yourself off on holidays, making sure that you're able to have birthday parties for yourself or attend family members' events or their birthdays, you know, just having those, being able to still have family life, social life is extremely important for just mental stability. You can have off a day every week. You can have certain maybe months that you know that you're going to be slower, block an entire week out so that you could take a vacation. And having all of that set also in your calendars prior to your assistant helping you, because once they're just throwing dates at you, you might just yes everything to death and then eventually figure out you literally are now living a 10-year life with no days off and having no social life or mental health or even like physical health. So very important to make sure you have those moments for yourself and those days for yourself and those times blocked off. It is okay to have off. It's okay. But make sure you're putting that in your calendar a year, maybe even 2 years in advance, depending on how far out you'll accept people. You also want to make sure that your assistant know that you're only taking people up until a certain date. Maybe you're willing to book a year out. Maybe you're willing to book 2 years out. I don't recommend doing much more than a year out just because you don't know where life is going to take you in that year. Life could look a whole lot different in 2 years from now. I've never been one to cancel on someone due to something like that, maybe wanting to do something for myself. But if that's something that you can do, all power to you. I don't recommend it. But you want to make sure that they also know to have that time in your calendar blocked off, that they are not to book you. Listen, if J-Lo inquires or Kim inquires, obviously you're gonna say yes to someone major, but try to keep those blocked off so that you can have that mental stability. Another great tip would be just if you expect them to like help you with your setup, maybe you want to meet up and drive to every client, having those expectations set up as well. So now you've taught them how you want your emails done, the timeline that you want them sent out in, what hours you want them sent in. Because if someone's answering your emails, let's just say at 11, 12 o'clock at night, they're gonna start texting you at 11, 12 o'clock at night. And now you're up anyway answering them because they might have questions like, hey, can you take this person? Hey, this person, I have an issue and I need help responding to this. So if you don't want to be on your own email at that time of night, that's why you hired someone, make sure that they're not doing your emails at that time because they're going to be asking you questions at that time. Super important. If you do have an assistant that's doing your emails, but they're also assisting you on weddings, on weekends, you want to train them, right? You want them, again, to be an extension of you. You should be training them on how you want them to do makeup, but also how you want them to present themselves to clients. So have them come with you to a few weddings or a few special occasions or trials so that they see how you talk, so that they see how you set up, so they see the products that you use, so that they see your techniques. So important to train your team. My team has full access to every masterclass that I ever do. Any questions that they have, we're here to answer and help them with, even if it's not a booking through us. So very important to be very involved with your team and train them properly in every sense of the word, right? Even, let's just say you don't want them ever wearing like a crop top. It's super important how you should dress kind of as a makeup artist, how to come off a little bit more professional. So once you're training a week or 2 weeks, however long you want that training process to be, once you have that done and you feel really comfortable with them doing your emails, with communications, even making schedules is really important. You should have templates in there on how they could like just really go in and edit how to make the schedule, but you need to train them in every aspect of client communication, train them in every aspect of like doing a trial, doing a wedding, doing a special occasion event, even training them on like how you travel. Maybe you're traveling into a city where you need to book parking in advance and maybe you require them to book your parking. Maybe they have your credit card in like an app where they can do that for you. Just things that'll make your life easier. When they do book clients, where do you want them to put it? Maybe you do a Google Calendar or the Apple Calendar. I love Google Calendar. I think it's really, really helpful, but I also like my assistants to also write in a physical calendar, because technology can fail, and God forbid you lose everything in that Google Calendar. It's gonna be really hard and very time consuming trying to find everything. So I recommend having 2 sets of calendars, having a physical one that they write in, having a online one as well, so that this way you can literally open your phone, click on a date, see the client's name, or search the client's name even if you want to figure out when their wedding is or their event is. And then you could even click the location and it'll show you exactly how to get there and how much time. So having them really understand how you like your booking process to go is super important. I'm actually going to wind up splitting this video into 2 parts. So come back next week for the second part, where I'm going to talk more about building an even bigger team. Maybe you need more than just 1 assistant, because obviously this is a pretty long video and there's a lot of information on how to hire just your main assistant, because they're so important. This is like so important, and they're going to actually help you hire the rest of your team, and they're going to help you train the rest of your team. So being patient and getting that one person first is super, super, super important. Once they've came with you and you've trained them and you've been able to really get them to understand how you work, how you want things done, and you're ready to, let them off on their own and be able to do these things, you still want to monitor them. You still want to check in on emails maybe every day and just look through really quickly, see a few of them. Maybe as certain ones come in, if you see that there's like an issue, maybe the client doesn't seem happy about something, you want to be able to still check in on that. You don't want to just forget about your emails. You don't want to just think like, okay, they got it covered, because that's not always the case. Sometimes they miss things that you catch, and you just want to always be super involved and helpful. So make sure that you're still monitoring them. And that's a forever thing. Maybe it's not every single day that you're like quickly going through. I'm saying like 10, 15 minutes just spend looking to make sure everyone's answered and you like how a few of them have been answered. And then the next day you could do it. And then as you get more comfortable and you don't see that person making any mistakes or messing up, maybe you're only checking it every other day or every 3rd day. It starts to get a little bit easier. You also want to really understand what they are going to get paid and how you're going to track their hours every day. Because if you're not having them clock in and out, you really have to trust this person. Like, hey, I did 2 hours on Monday. I did 3 hours on Tuesday. I only did an hour on Wednesday. You want to be able to really trust them, or you just give them a limit. Like, hey, you have a limit of 10 hours. I expect you to do 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday. If the emails ever get overwhelming and you're not able to get to all of them within those 2 hours, please let me know and I will approve an extra hour. This way, if you're paying them $20 an hour and they're doing 10 hours a week, $200 per week to do your emails. And you want to have those set payments with them, obviously prior to hiring them, so that they also know what they're getting into. If they're not okay with the amount that you're going to be paying them and they feel like it's too little, they're not going to be doing a good job either. So you want them to, feel good about the payment that they're getting. Once you're able to start taking more clients and you're not spending so much time doing these emails, or you're able to send out that assistant to do other people for you, now you're going to be able to take a percentage from whoever they go out to. You're going to be able to take more clients. So that $200 easily in one client or one booking that you have them out on will pay for itself. And then as you build your team, they'll pay for that assistant, and then you'll be also making money on top of it. So it's super important to just really have that payment strategy down and be able to take an extra client or 2 that week, because now you have more free time. Or raise your prices. Raise your prices. Now you have another expense. You can easily up your rates by like $25 to $50, and that will cover that expense easily. And now you have more time on your hands. You have a better life-work balance, and maybe you're still making it exactly the same, but you have more time on your hands. But you could also be profiting. You could be making a little bit of money and having more time on your hands by just having one assistant helping you. So really great start, really good option for anyone who is turning away clients, really great option for anyone who's struggling to keep up with emails. Really start thinking about hiring. Take notes on this video, download the free giveaway that I have as part of this videos so that you could have like a little checklist for yourself on what steps you should be doing in the hiring process. And obviously, if they're out working on your clients, you need a different pay strategy, right? You're not going to be paying them $20 an hour. Most artists are not going to want to go do a face for like 40 bucks, right? Maybe they spent 2 hours on that person. They don't want 40 bucks for that. They know that they could go work retail and make close to that. Why would they do that? So you want to make sure that they are excited to do clients for you. I like a 70-30 split. I know I've talked about this kind of stuff in the past in my blueprint course, where I really dive super deep on the business of the makeup industry, right? Of how to really run your own makeup business. So let's just say you're sending them out and your rate for them maybe might be a little different from yours. Maybe it's the same as yours. If they're up to par with your artistry, it can totally be the same as yours. If they're not quite up to par with your artistry, have it be a lower rate. It's also a great option for those clients who are on more of a budget. Hey, maybe they come back and say they can't afford you. Great option. I have an amazing assistant who I trained, and here they are, look at their work. You also want a website now that has their work on it, because you don't want to just send them to their Instagram page, because now that client, they might try to contact them directly and see if there's a price difference, which there could be, right? Maybe their rate is normally $150 and maybe you're tacking on your 30% on top of that, or maybe you're taking it off. I recommend having it as their rate that they send out to their clients, because even if the client directly reaches out to them, they're not getting a deal out of it, and then they'll just stick with booking it through you. Does that make sense? But to avoid that and to really keep it within your brand, have your website that you should already have built out. If you don't have one, we will talk about websites and the importance of them in another video as well. But very important to have a website for your company, for your brand, for yourself. And once you have that assistant, adding them as your pro team on that website, having their portfolio pictures on there so that you can simply refer our clients that you can't accommodate, or they can refer them, obviously, because now they're doing your emails, to the website. Hey, please check out the pro artist. And then that way they're able to look at their work without going to social media and maybe just emailing them directly, right? You also want to have that relationship with your assistant. Obviously, she'll notice like, oh, this person just emailed me, but they emailed D'Amelio Cosmetics first. So you want them to be really like trustworthy and understand this person is a D'Amelio Cosmetics client. I know that they emailed and I have to go through D'Amelio Cosmetics. That's really important that you lay that down as well. But anyway, so let's just say their rate for a bridesmaid is $150. You want to make sure yours is also $150, and then you're taking that 30%, 40%, whatever, 20%, whatever you might want to have your split be off of that, so that they know they have to pay you 30% of whatever they're making that day, minus travel, minus tip, right? Because they're always going to keep their tip, they're always going to keep their travel. So being really reasonable with that and having that payment structure down is super important prior to sending them out and surprising them with whatever your payment structure may be. If you guys have questions about, how to create schedules, or maybe even like what templates to do, please write it down in the comments. I will make more videos about anything that you guys have questions about, okay? I know I didn't dive super deep into all of the logistics, but I am willing to make more videos. I don't want to make these too crazy long for you. Again, there is going to be a part 2 on how to continue building your team once you need more artists to work for you, because now you can't accommodate it, you or your assistant. And this is just going to help your brand grow. This is going to help you make more money and establish your authority in your area. So I really hope you guys like this video. Again, if you did like it, please like and subscribe. Download your free resource. Again, that's just going to go over everything that we said in the video, a nice little checklist so that you don't have to rewatch it. And that is going to be theartoфenhancement.com/10 if you don't want to just click the link below. Any questions that you guys have, again, write in the comments, and I will see you next week in part 2 of this video. Bye, guys.